Welcome everybody. I want to do a July monthly update. We've had some issues with a couple of recent streams, so I'm going to do a major update on our primary markets in this presentation. Really get through a number of markets, critical markets, equities, commodities, and some crypto. And we'll look at Harmonic Pattern Collection, a couple different platforms. We'll look at the Pro and we'll look at the HPC Lite, but let's start with NASDAQ. I think it's important to really follow this market because it is such ideal harmonic pattern framework that we know that we are in the retest of this major crab pattern that started back in February was its completion. It's the big 1618 of last fall's decline, that correction, and that's set up for type 1 reaction, which is what we got down into those lows in mid-March. That hit target 1, and then ever since then we've been straight up and looking for the retest as high as the hop level at 365. And that in the process of getting there, we formed this bearish ABCD secondary pattern on the larger retest. Okay, that sets us up looking for at least a reaction off of this completion. You have everything you want to see here. Independent of the crab pattern, the ABCD itself has already set up to complete the pattern and begin to roll over with a fairly ideal 3-bar reversal. So not surprised to see this pause right now and target as low as this target 1 on this reaction off of that ABCD. Something a little bit larger wouldn't be a surprise either. But we're clearly, even in the strongest of trends, still grinding our way higher, make an advance, have a retracement, making another advance. So not surprised to see this up at this level, hitting 1618s, which are natural states of overbought, oversold, overextended levels. Let's keep an eye on that NASDAQ. There's a lot of really quick individual tech stocks that are hitting big patterns. Facebook, Google, Microsoft. I mean, there's beautiful deep crab on Facebook. Take a look at that. That's in that 350 area generally, just really as high as this overreach on the terminal bar. The measured levels are around 352, but again, larger resistance pretty clear around 350. Just that larger, just above 350 area. Take a look at Microsoft. These are all auto-generated patterns with the software. So I'm respecting these levels and do feel that with multiple patterns, even the type 1 reversal, type 2, and then all these ABCDs, we see a lot of overextended structures, about as overextended as it can be. So reactions here would not be a surprise. Again, Microsoft 280 and change, be patient, target 1 at 260. A couple more. Let's do Amazon, of course, and just run through the FANG stocks, quite frankly. Amazon. This one's showing a little bit more strength, but still in the 2 of 2. Look, here's your type 1 off of that last bat pattern, clearly off of the hop, really strong into the zone. But then we come back down for the retest, and this is where it's starting to try to break out. That is all-time new highs above there. Okay, but still having corrections all the way. I think this is still in a strong advance, but having a short retracement, and then maybe we do another advance. That one's a little bit stronger than, say, the Facebook chart, Google. Here's Netflix. And a lot of the setups we're seeing, we should expect just reactions. Here's Netflix on the daily. type 1 reaction, folks. Down to 519 is target 1. Wouldn't be a surprise. And then look for the return later in a few weeks. Later this summer, come the fall. I mean, I think a lot of this is setting up in that way where all of these are just overextended 1618 moves in the middle of the summer. Go to S&P 500, and that one, the S&P 500 has been stronger than NASDAQ in recent weeks for sure. And we're well above our any measured levels. I mean, we are, if you want to see a failed pattern, that has all the markings of a failed pattern, because here is the initial reaction on that when it hits those numbers, which is common, but the follow through is nothing. And actually, just like NASDAQ, makes its way higher. In this case, once we got to retesting the hop, it blew right through in the event of a big breakout gap. And, if you didn't have that measured with the hop level, you might just see the breakout gap and say, okay, yeah, that is significant. But it's even more significant in terms of failing the pattern right at that hop level. I mean, we hit the hop level that day. The next day, what does it do? Because we're always looking for the action after it hits the level. And the next day it explodes, continues higher. This thing's just been on a tear. So we are at another 1618, short-term 1618 on S&P continuous contract. Take a look. Right there, 43.65. So look for a little 382 pullback. Just come back down into, say, the 42.75 area, just like we've done the last few times. Little pullback. I mean, this is what you call a reciprocal ABCD. What is it? It's really just a counter trend segment that you can approximate that is generally the same within that trend channel. So you want to base it usually off of the first counter trend reaction, and that gives you a pretty clear instance of what we should expect. I think this is maybe we really can't use that counter trend reaction because that's really more a full constructive retest. But this counter trend, or even this one, just look how many times. And you're talking 150 point moves that don't surprise you within this uptrend before you take your next leg higher. I think pretty clear that's what's happening, especially with hitting this 1618 a few sessions ago and now completing a 3-bar reversal. We talked about that 3-bar reversal in our course last week, and just to recall, I want to find that illustration. I'll show you that illustration in a minute. We'll come back to that. But the key 3-bar reversal, that's what we're going to get with today's action. So we want to keep an eye on it. S&P, again, 42.50, 42.75. It's not going to surprise us. Let's take a quick look at crude oil, some of the energy complex. We're getting our harmonic pause, aren't we? We talked about this harmonic pause in the beginning of the week, banging up against a lot of these patterns. One second, let me improve that. There you go. Oh no. Let's try this. December contract of this year. Here's the daily. Okay, check it out. So we are having a bit of a reaction in the stocks, but spot price is still holding up despite getting rejected from the hop. Recall, we've been talking about this big hop test with a strong HSI test, but that's how we look at the confirmation. It forms the HSI and then checks back. So, okay, the tolerance is as high as the extreme of that bar. Looked like it was trying to threaten a breakout above 72, but it's definitely been overextended. Look at your indicators breaking down. I mean, this has been kind of telling the story of the past several sessions, that we're still following a breakdown consolidation that don't expect this thing to take off just yet. And don't be surprised if this rolls over and gives us some kind of correction before we go higher. That's what we've been saying all along. Take a look at this next week, and here on the weekly chart, that is even, I think, more indicative of the current state of what's going on. We are 3 weeks inside this initial candle from a month ago, back in June. So keep an eye on how we proceed forward, because if this is going to hold up this week, surprisingly, and not break above 67.50, in light of all of the news, and there seemed to be a lot of action this week, but this is holding a lot stronger than I even expected. So we'll see next week of how this continues. If we get, say, a 1, 2, 3 pause this week, over the these 3 weeks, and then next week we take off, and maybe even a large engulfing that looks a lot like this candle, I would, I'm not going to be, it would be a really nice setup to have a big fat bullish candle next week. So let's keep an eye on that. This thing is not doing much other than a harmonic pause, is what we call it. Quick look at natural gas. That has been one of the sleeper markets. It's finally woken up. We've been talking about it since at least February. And let's look at continuous contract. So great progress. Great initial progress is what I should say. And really happy that we have caught this. And I want to be thinking about a pause, a little bit of a pullback here before we take another leg higher. We had real nice HSI confirmation that confirmed the beginning of the week. And then just yesterday, we have just solidified the 3-day rollover reversal. That is this bar up here. Take a look. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Now, we could say, why wouldn't you look up here of, say, 1, 2, 3 or 1, 2, 3? Because it's not really 3. Also, your confirmation starts on that bar. The check back comes in there. So, okay, check back, bang, 1, 2, 3. Okay, that's a great initial sign where probably more consolidation, or maybe even a little bit lower. So be aware of that. We're in a little consolidation phase, probably a pullback of this first thrust. But nat gas has a ways to go this year. I think we'll get another surge that on the next surge is going to get us up to the 886 at around 465, 470. This is not over by any stretch of the imagination, but it's really made great progress. Here's that UNG ETF, natural gas ETF. Okay, that thing it's got a ways to go. Remember, this is a monthly chart that we're looking at, has a crazy crab pattern all the way down here. There you go. Now we're looking at that as more of a general 1618 structure, as if this is a final 1618 wave, show me where in here we might have some stabilization. Clearly, it reacted off the first move and then went sideways for how many months? 30 months easy, and then dumped. But now we're seeing stabilization after at least 6 months or more. And I want to focus on this point going forward to get us maybe back up into the zone here. Like I said, 27, 25 would not be a stretch to come back and retest this zone. So natural gas, really the first wave, if you will. It's nothing on this chart on the monthly, right? Although the futures has been huge. Keep an eye on that. That's something that we're going to get another shot. If you weren't involved in the first time, just get this on your screen. We'll have another shot. Here is the boil. Remember, great one from around 22 and up to around 36, 37 when we started saying, let's take some profits here. We are pausing. Let me tell you, if we can get down to this 30 level, 30, 80, and complete this type 1, get some HSI confirmation right in this area, the second leg will probably initiate to retest the pattern. Keep an eye on that one. That's again next week. Look for the rollover and then we go. Some of the other ones, here's XLE. Okay, that's rolling over after hitting a couple of, I think it was a weekly. So yeah, Gartley here on the weekly, and that's another 3-bar. So, okay. 3-bar reversal in effect with today's close down to target 1. That's pretty steep. Let's keep an eye on this crude. It's an interesting situation. We're looking for a pause. Are we going to get more than just a pause? That would be pretty nasty. Let's see how things go. I really think we have to keep our eye on NASDAQ and some of these higher levels. They are at their utmost extremes. And again, I'm concerned about the market in general. And we'll talk about that more next week. Really quick, I want to go highlight a few crypto and just bring into here's, and that's Starbucks. That's funny. Even Starbucks, look, Starbucks has a bearish crab. I know it's on a 1 hour and a 4 hour time frame. Yeah. But let's go over to crypto quickly and take a look at our recent setup with Bitcoin that I posted that does have this bullish Gartley, folks, but no confirmation. So I'm going to sit and watch because the downtrend has been so steep for so long that I'm not going to just jump. If it would be a trade, maybe a type 1 trade, but this is a 4-hour chart. It's a rather significant pattern after testing that bearish ABCD. So to see a reaction come off of that Gartley here would not be a surprise, back up to maybe 32.5, maybe as high as 34.5. Longer term, we just need to look at the daily chart and see that this is just, I'm glad this came up in a Zoom like this. This is a steady downtrend of lower highs, lower lows that is real dangerous. So there's going to have to be a few things I would need to see before I would jump in on that. You're against trying to fight this extreme downtrend, and that's what it is. It's an extreme downtrend. So there's not really a lot of value to be fighting the downtrend and fighting your indicator situation. I mean, we do have a nice bullish RSI BAM. The green line stops right here and we start looking to the right. Those are all constructive signals, but zero follow through. I mean, I personally think that that should have rocketed off of that secondary move and did not. So a lot of different lack of signals that have a lack of continuation, no follow through, at least in the indicator in particular, where we get a nice move that takes us to above the 50 level and we make progress in the indicator. Instead, indicator is still trailing lower, and HSI has gotten to the point on the daily with Bitcoin where I would want to wait for a final test. Once you hit that final test, I'll look at our next set of levels. But again, this is an ugly situation where Bitcoin is not in a spot where we can expect this thing to be reacting off of any level anytime soon. It needs more time. And I will draw your attention to the really the poster child of this meltdown is Dogecoin. And just look at Doge. I'm done with Doge, forever done with Doge. I will probably never mess with this thing ever again. But Doge is in that 1-2 framework on, here's the full, let's go to the 4 hour. There you go. And we have just been following this down. 10 cents is still our target. Let me bring that back up. There you go, and bring up the zone. And this will go to the hop. I mean, we have a hop level right there at 10 cents, 10.19 cents. But this thing continues just to trail lower and lower. Let me highlight the zone, remove the transparency. There you go. Everything everyone now knows about type 1 and type 2 framework, that phenomenon, I think we all can completely agree that until we get a hop test with an HSI with a hop, which is much lower, which is down here, there is nothing of value in Doge to even attempt. You're hitting your XA at 17.48 cents, and you might bounce 5 cents. You might even bounce 7 cents, but that's it. This is just, we'll do this grind until you get to at least 10 cents. And if you hold there, I don't know. What I fear is likely going to happen is you'll get a big down wick. You'll get just a devastating down wick. Something's coming, folks. Something's coming in crypto. I'm completely out. I have been out for weeks. I have not gone back in since I got out that last time. Here's Ethereum. Go to the daily time frame. We have, a few things on the 4 hour, but really nothing in this area that would say, hey, I'm interested in these lows. I'm interested in taking a shot because I think Ethereum was going to go to all-time new highs anytime soon. No, there has to be some kind of stabilization of at least 2-3 weeks. We don't really see that yet in any of this since that correction began. And you go to even a 4 hour time frame, it's just most of the bullish patterns or the hourly patterns have been pops and rolls. That's it. Here's that other one. Here's a hourly crab pattern. It's a type 2. Look at that. Almost perfect. Okay, it actually is, because there's the completion and does a really erratic, extended consolidation where it's just breaking down. So that's Ethereum at 1918. Again, I really feel that these are in the midst of the all-time 886 resets, and I hope I'm wrong. But for Ethereum, again, we'll wait and see what happens in the next couple of weeks. I'm expecting this breakdown under the 1700 level very soon, like probably in the next week. And we begin the march, get down to our all-time 886. That's the only thing I'm interested in. And that's at 540. No one's going to say that. I will. 540, folks. Bitcoin, it's 1130. And I just wrap it up with that. Not to just be a naysayer, but for me, there is no opportunity structurally here, and certainly not even from an indicator value that would register an extreme oversold reading. Your 886 on the Bitcoin off of the last low. I mean, I could pull this from the all-time, which is probably what I should do, because off of the last low, it's around 97.50. But if we do an all-time move off of the all-time low or all-time price, which is basically just an all-time 88.6% correction, go start it a buck. and then just, yeah. We basically want to look at 11.3, but I'm not interested in it because let's just assess what's happening with the weekly bars that you are breaking down week over week, unable to even close above any prior weeks and really starting to grind lower lows. Mix this up with clear indicator indecision that wants to do an oversold reading, but that's going to be at lower prices. You're going to have to pay for that. Beware. You're not going to get the crypto market to move in mass unless you get Bitcoin, Ethereum, and some of these others to really go. The final one I would look at is, and concerns me, is Binance Coin here at 300. And there's a lot going on at that area all time for Binance Coin. The daily time frame, where is that? Yeah. Binance Coin has not been able to get off of these recent lows, and looks like a lot of the altcoins that have these all-time structures, in this case an all-time shark, and that's down at around $100. Wouldn't be a stretch. If anything, Binance Coin is starting to take shape where it would finally give us a structure, an M or W formation, at least an M for bullish, where maybe it starts to set up like this, and maybe other altcoins will start to do something like this, where you start to form the construction of some kind of crab pattern, something like that, an offshoot. Maybe it takes a little bit more time, but that's the general idea, folks. And so if that's how this final wave really has to take shape, then we're kind of a ways from any major substantial lows. A lot of these cryptos that I thought were fantastic and probably still are need time. Here's basic attention token, the BAT USDC. It's an all-time BAT pattern. And I think this is a great project. I think, without even saying too much about trying to compare different projects, this is a great project. Check it out, do the research on it, but at what price? And I think that price for BAT is probably around 35 cents, where the BAT pattern completes. Basic attention token, USDC. I like it, but I like it at probably 25-30% lower levels. That's how I feel about most of crypto. I like it, but at much lower levels. So we'll try to get my tech issues fixed for next week. But again, thanks everybody. Appreciate the patience on the issues from this week. And again, I want to make sure everyone is connected with Harmonic Pattern Collection. Go to harmonictrader.com, and the place to start is the basic members page. So most of you know that the gold members go there and access our course from last week and access the most recent materials that have been uploaded as well. So if you have other questions, reach out to me at harmonictrader@gmail.com. Thanks, everybody. We'll be back next week, and look for a note from me on my YouTube channel. Subscribe there, and other questions, get me at my Gmail. Thanks again. Take care, and go get them.